there. I want to talk to you about a couple things you can do to help if you find yourself in a state where your emotions or your thoughts feel like they're flooding you or overwhelming, or you just feel like completely out of sorts with yourself. And so when that happens, we call that being in a state of dysregulation. And you do not have to be so full-blown dysregulated that you feel completely out of control. But when you have that sense of thoughts and emotions on replay, or thoughts and emotions that are overwhelming you, and you're feeling a little out of yourself or a little unstable, then that's a milder form of dysregulation. In extremer forms of dysregulation, we maybe can't contain our emotions. We maybe feel very, very overly expressive with our emotions, or very, very shut down with our emotions, and just kind of a form of flight, which I spoke about in an earlier video. So when you find yourself in that dysregulated state at whatever level, there are things you can do to help yourself. So one thing that is with you always, no one can take it away from you, and that is breathing. You're like, well, of course we're breathing. We're breathing all the time. Well, there are techniques for breathing that can be very, very helpful in times of stress, that help you bring your neurochemistry back into a regulated state, which then allows your thoughts and emotions to be calmed down and more in your control, so that instead of that thinking and emoting that's overwhelming being kind of in the driver's seat of your life, you get back in the driver's seat, and those emotions and thoughts take a back seat. So breathing, probably the easiest one is to do a 4-count breath in, a pause for 2 to 4 counts, a 4-count out breath, and a pause for 2 to 4 counts. And then you just repeat that and do maybe 10 cycles. What is important is that you breathe from the diaphragm. I think I shared this before. I'm going to adjust the camera. So you want, you want to breathe. So if you were able to see that, my stomach was rising as I breathe in and falling as I breathe out. So you want to breathe in that manner. There is not air going into your stomach. It's just your diaphragm contracting, pulling oxygen deeper into the lung, so that all of that vascular tissue in your lungs are getting properly oxygenated. So doing that 4-count breath with the pause of 2 to 4 counts, breathing from the diaphragm, is very calming to your nervous system. So what that might look like, I'm going to do a 2-count pause just to help with time. So you're going to breathe in, 2, 3, 4, pause, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, pause, 2, in, 2, 3, 4, pause, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, pause, 2. And after you've done that a little bit, I would encourage you to slow that count down just a tiny bit, or add a 5th count in there to help you extend the breath work and allow your muscles to soften and relax and lengthen. So that is one really easy to do grounding technique, is that breath work. Another is to do a quick inventory of your senses. Now, there are different ways to do this. So the simplest one to me is to not worry about numbers, but just to kind of notice, what do I see? Name some things you see. What do I hear? Name some things you hear, and listen long enough to hear the more distant sounds. That brings your concentration into your experience better if you take that extra moment to listen to the distant sounds. So what do I see? What do I hear? What do I smell? What do I feel? And feel is not just about the hands. It may be things like, I feel the gentle movement of the air because of the ceiling fan. I feel the earth beneath my feet. I feel the pressure of the cushion that I'm sitting on. So things that are sensory in terms of skin or body experience that involves touch, not just the hands. And then the last would be taste. Do I have any residual taste in my mouth? Or sometimes take a drink of ice water and just feel that in your mouth, the taste and the coolness of it, or a hot drink if you prefer. Feel the taste and the warmth of that, and allow that sensory experience to just bring you into yourself, and helps to turn off all of the thoughts and emotions that are on replay that are flooding or overwhelming you. Now, some people have a sensory experience to trauma in which the sensory information is heightened. And so if sounds seem louder, if smells seem stronger, then I would encourage you not to do the sensory check-in, because that might be more dysregulating if that is happening. So if you start to do the sensory check-in and you feel yourself getting more agitated, just stop, do a little breath work. Some other things you can do that are very helpful. There are nerve clusters along the core of your body. And so putting some gentle pressure there can help. So things like a forward fold, or laying on a bolster or a firm pillow, or having a weighted blanket to put on you can be helpful. That light pressure along the center of your core down kind of the front side of where your spine would be, starting from the sternum to the upper part of the pelvis. And that pressure can be helpful. A forward bend puts pressure there, so that's why that can be effective. And those things will help you. The breath work also, I'm a easily distracted person. I can do a few cycles of a 4-count breath, and then my mind goes, what's on the grocery list? So if you find yourself not able to stay in the breath work and stay focused on your breaths, then change the count. And there's no magic. Just do anywhere from 3, 4, or 5 count in breath, and then change the out breath to a different number, or change every cycle. So 3 breaths in, 3 breaths, or 3 count out, 4 count in, 4 count out, 3 count in, 4 count out, 5 count in, 5 count out. Just switch that up between a 3 and 5 count breath, and inhale and exhale, and that can help your mind stay focused and present with your breath. When distracting thoughts come, don't criticize yourself and don't dwell on those thoughts. Just go, oh, isn't that interesting? I have that thought. Let it go. Let it float on by. And those grounding tactics can be helpful. If senses of smell are not overly activating for you, taking a simple like Lifesavers or Altoids mint and putting it in your mouth, crunching it just a little bit, so that it releases more of the flavor and the aroma, and then just letting that mint sit on your tongue. And you don't want tiny pieces because I don't want you to choke on it. So you just want to break it into a few pieces in your mouth, and then breathing in and out deeply from the diaphragm. Don't worry about the count, but just noticing the taste and the aroma, and having felt and heard the crunch in your mouth of the mint. That can be very grounding. Some people don't like mints, so like lemon heads are a very strong flavor, so that can be helpful. They don't have as much aroma. And then also the use of some essential oils that are mood elevating, or calming and relaxing. And so you just have to find, there are lots of pieces of literature and information out there about what essential oils do. I am not an expert on essential oils. I find for me, I just pick the oils that to me feel calming or feel mood elevating, rather than worrying about whether I'm following some rule. So you might want to do a little research on that to find out which ones offer you those benefits of mood elevation or calming, tranquil kinds of feelings. But I love citrus blends. I love lavender, bergamot, chamomile. Those are some, not chamomile, I can't think of the other one, but they are scents that I like. Oh, Yang Yang, Ylang. That one is a calming one to me. So experiment with smelling them and see what effect they provide for you, and go with how you respond to it, rather than how some piece of literature tells you it's supposed to make you feel, because it may just be different for you as an individual. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope this finds you well.